Now to another backflip from this Labor government, another deception from Labor. They're coming for our super. It's our money, it's our superannuation savings, but Labor can't wait to get its hands on it. Now, Johannes Leek in The Australian, as ever, summed it up best. A big pool of our savings he's got there. We're told we can't dip into it, our own savings, while Treasurer Jim Chalmers goes the big belly flop looking to sink his teeth into it. Yep, Labor rejects the coalition idea of first home buyers being able to use some of their own super savings to help them get into the housing market. Instead, it wants the union-controlled super funds to use your savings on their pet projects, social housing and even more renewable energy. They're appropriating your super savings to fund their woke agenda. It is theft, and no doubt there'll be higher taxes too.
The overhaul seeking to limit what superannuation can be used for while also tightening tax concessions.
Right now, we're on track to spend more on super concessions, tax concessions, than the age pension by around 2050.
Don't you love that dishonest framing by Chalmers that the government spends money on your tax concessions? This is absolute bunkum. Tax concessions let you keep your own money, and they're there to encourage savings and keep people off the pension. But the left always think that they own every dollar in the system. Every dollar you get to keep of your own wages or savings is a government spend. What a distortion. The greatest political crime here, though, is that before the election, Labor promised none of this was on the agenda.
What about superannuation? Would there be any changes to the superannuation rules?
Oh, look, we said about superannuation that we would maintain the system. We've been defending the system from coalition attacks. Australians shouldn't expect major changes to superannuation if the government changes hands.
And it was the same from Anthony Albanese, then the opposition leader, reassuring all of us.
OK, superannuation, any changes?
We have not planned for any changes on superannuation.
OK, but that's not ruling out superannuation changes. It's not planned.
Because we will announce all of our policies, and we're back to whack-a-mole. Will you rule everything out in vague, broad terms? What I've said is that we will have all of our policies out there well before the election.
Remember, Albanese and Chalmers were members of a far-left shadow cabinet under Bill Shorten going into the last election campaign, and they were using the language and the policies of class warfare and envy. The public saw their campaign for what it was, and Labor was trounced. So before the last election, they learned to change their language and sound more mainstream. Even the ABC was onto it.
OK, do you see now, looking back, though, that language, reclaim the rightful place of the party of aspiration, very different to the messaging you had during the election, which was the constant attacks on the top end of town, which made some who are on pretty modest incomes, middle-income earners at best, feeling that they were somehow being lumped in as wealthy and greedy and undeserving. Do you see that language, the top end of town, was old-fashioned, exclusive and doesn't speak to aspiration, didn't speak to inclusiveness?
Well, I'll leave that for the pundits, Fran. I think,
well, have you thought about it?
Well, I think
because you've changed your language, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, they changed their language, all right, but they still harboured their leftist desires to get their hands on our money. And now they frame it as doing you a favour.
We will try and end the super wars once and for all.
Oh, yeah, ending the super wars, hey? Looks to me like they've only just begun.